Welcome everybody to a look at the second film in the directed by David Lean Volume 2 box set, and it is a 1950s Madeleine. So this is a period film noir, clocking in at 114 minutes long. Although on the back of this it does actually say an hour 40. That is not the case. And once again we get another film starring Anne Todd in this box set. Also stars Norman Woodland, who was in the 1948 version of Hamlet, as well as Ivanhoe. We've also got Ivan Desney, who had a small role in Guns for San Sebastian. You've also got Leslie Banks, who was in The Most Dangerous Game. He played Count Zoroff, I think it was called, the bad guy in that. He was also really, really good in Cottage to Let. You've also got the likes of Elizabeth Sellers, who was in The Barefoot Contessa and 55 Days at Peking. And finally, Andre Morel, who I've seen in 17 other films. Favourites from him being the likes of Hand of the Baskervilles from 1959, The Shadow of the Cat, and Cash on Demand. The first and last of those also starring Peter Cushing. So Madeleine's middle-class family cannot understand why she puts off marrying a respectable young man, as they know nothing about her long-term affair with a Frenchman. So that is only really about half the story. I'm not going to go too much more into depth into it because I don't want to really spoil it, but it is a decent watch in that regard, and it is on the whole a reasonably engaging effort, but it is unfortunately let down by a somewhat excessive running time and no character to really root for. As Madeleine is initially sympathetic, she's in a very, stuffy and very rule-based household. There's like routine that she has to abide by and such. But as the events go on, you start to become less and less sympathetic with her, and more and more suspicious about something that she's done, which is what basically fills the second half of this film. That said, the cast is really good. I love the final shot, especially since Anne Todd is also really good with a facial expression in that final shot. Also lends some ambiguity, ambiguity, um, to what she actually has or hasn't done, which is really, really fantastic bit of acting to convey all of that, you know, did she or didn't she kind of aspects in just one, quite brief a scene, all with just a facial movement. So, that is really, really good. It's also generally well paced, has convincing period production. The score is decent, and the final courtroom scenes towards the end are also well executed. I guess I've spoiled it a little bit in that regard, but I'm not going to say why there were courtroom scenes. So, but nonetheless, a solid effort, but definitely one of my least favourite David Lean's films I've seen so far. Gets a 3 out of 5. Might seem a little bit harsh, but yeah, just the fact that it's nearly 2 hours doesn't seem to really fill that 2 hours in a convincing manner, while also not really having much of a character to root for. As I said, Anne Todd's character initially is sympathetic, but then gradually doesn't become so, and then you don't really have anyone else to sympathise with after that kind of turn. So that is a real shame, really, because quite frankly, her family are a little bit unsympathetic with their stuffiness and their rules and their willingness to control Madeleine, which isn't sympathetic in the slightest. And it just doesn't have that kind of person to latch onto to keep it engaging. But still, it's not the worst film we've ever seen, and I do like the fact that it is a film noir that is in a period setting. It's not something we often see, which is conveyed by the fact that it's got really good like cinematography and lighting and decent sets and such. But yeah, just wish it had a bit more of an engaging story to fill those near 2 hours, and also had a more sympathetic character within its plot. But nonetheless, it does have a 1080p high definition presentation. This is apparently a worldwide premiere on Blu-ray as well. So it's not going to be found anywhere else at the moment. And in terms of extras, you've got an audio commentary by Elaine Silver and Jim Ursini, authors of David Lean and his films. They also did the audio commentary for the previous film. You got Madeleine, an appreciation interview with Professor Melanie Williams, author of David Lean from 2025. She did the same for the previous film as well. Then you got Shopping for Prussic Acid. Actor Douglas Barr remembers Madeleine. Then you got a sound case. Assistant sound director Jim Popel remembers Madeleine. And then you got a stills gallery as well. I'm pretty sure Jim Popel did a. Pretty sure he did an appreciation in the previous film as well. Yeah. So he must have worked with David Lean on multiple films as far as sound editor, assistant sound editor. So yeah, decent looking effort, no doubt about that. It's got LPCM 2.0 mono audio, by the way. It's in black and white, 1:37:1 aspect ratio. You do have optional English subtitles as well. And yeah, looks and sounds perfectly reasonable. I'm just ashamed that the film isn't quite as good as it could have been, or even nearly as good as The Passionate Friends, which is still my favourite out of this box set so far that I haven't seen before purchase. Because yeah, the last film is definitely my favourite out of the three that I've now seen. But still, hopefully it picks up from here on in with the next two that I haven't seen before. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. The next film we'll be reviewing is The Sound Barrier, one I am quite looking forward to. But nonetheless, if you have seen Madeleine before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.